Hello everyone, Bata here. This Friday, together with the episode regarding the making, WandaVision finally ended. And it was, in my opinion, a pretty interesting ride. So in today's episode of Beta One Report, we're taking a look at the first Disney Plus TV show that ties into the present timeline of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, kickstarting Phase 4, WandaVision. As always, this video will be a full-blown talk about the entirety of the TV show, which means spoilers paradise. You have been warned. Now let's get in. We are at the beginning of a TV show into a sitcom. So it is presented in the making, so it is perceived by anyone who saw the TV show, and it definitely does have its style. You don't exactly know where you are for a long while, because jumping through the 60s and the 50s and the 70s and so on until we get the actual Marvel core, the whole thing is veiled in mystery. Wanda's powers are over the charts from square one in this TV show, being able to change objects, make objects appear, run through time, change people's thoughts and perceptions, so on and so forth. Vision also has super speed, which aren't what he was known for previously, but hey, do you remember a character who was? Yeah, me neither. About all the sitcom era, I will just say it was enjoyable. From the evolution of Wanda, passing from the housewife to a woman of the community, going to modernism, the in-house jokes, the magical show, the pregnancy episode and all that, every single one puts a smile on the face and are worth watching as standalone pieces. But they aren't standalone pieces, are they? Even as soon as the first episode, things start to go wrong. And by wrong I mean full-blown errors in the matrix. We are presented with a flawed world, telling the persons watching that maybe there is a bit more about it than meets the eye. With this in mind, it balances perfectly continuity, humor, while also being enjoyable and do its thing. The whole thing is just marvelous, you could say. Those glitches persevere as the year progresses, with a radio calling out Wanda, with a man coming out of the sewers, and eventually with the reveal that Monica Rambeau was kept as a sitcom character all along. A character from the actual MCU world transformed into a character of the sitcom. That can be right, can it? Also, if you don't remember who Monica Rambeau is, she is the little girl of the best friend of Captain Marvel. And to answer my question earlier, yes, it turns out it is. The plot presenting itself eventually as a fictional world Wanda controls. However, and here is a good thing this TV show did, for every question it answers, another appears. Like, we get the reveal Westview is just a town Wanda transformed into a pocket dimension to live her own happy ending fantasy, but as the reveal hits you, after a moment of satisfaction, you are hit. How the fuck did this happen? Despite still keeping the sitcom format together with very cute intro sequences, after we understand what these sitcoms actually are, we arrive into a full-blown Marvel movie calling upon heroes and villains to align and for hidden interests to be revealed. And as it progresses, glitches keep appearing. Vision discovering the entire periphery of the town as just a wrong-coded program, and Agnes revealing herself as a villain. Into a climactic final battle, we got a Vision fighting a Vision, the one resurrected by Sword fighting the one created by Wanda. A witch versus witch battle, with Wanda fighting Agnes. Even Wanda's created kids are overpowering sword agents, cause why not, they created by one of the strongest beings in the MCU at this point. The ending is in tune with the entire show because it reminds us, despite the bad guys being defeated, no one is as guilty of this mess as Wanda herself. And let's talk a bit about her now. Wanda. Wanda was awesome in this TV show. I loved her character so much. Not a hero, not a villain. Just someone who felt defeated by life. And so she fell prey to her own grief and thoughts, accidentally creating an entire fictional world along the way, in the shape of her trauma. And we learned in the episode where Agatha takes her down memory lane that sitcoms are part of her trauma, since the sitcom played for days as they were trapped in the ruins of her house, with a bomb that would have ended both her and her brother, was not for her witch powers. Wanda got so much progress as a character in this TV show, however. It makes me so proud of the writers. She's now definitely the strongest MCU hero, or rather hero, both a witch and a living Infinity Stone in a world where the true ones got snapped out by Purple Titan. What this TV show was actually about was how this strong character would actually come to peace with all her loss in her life to unlock her full potential, accepting that she still has work to do in this world. The city of Westview presented all her emotions perfectly. Vision was her love, Tommy and Billy her stolen future, while the pain of the entire town was just reflecting a pain of her own. But in the end she moved on, embracing her grief rather than letting it consume her, watching at this grief as what it really is, just her love for everything she lost, preserving. Monica Rambeau was a big surprise and a very pleasant one. She acted as a bridge between the real world and the world Wanda created. Someone who dealt with grief too and who felt powerless after simply being snapped away for 5 years, and finding her mother dead afterwards. As a result of her own grief, she goes to hell and back to save Wanda, relating to her. And in my opinion, her presence actually is pivotal in making Wanda move on, considering Monica was the only character non-created by Wanda, who did not point guns or throw magic at her. And in the end she became a superhero too, and when Wanda's powers can create superheroes accidentally, I think it's just a statement of how strong she really is. Also, Monica got a cliffhanger with the end credits scene, and I can't wait to see her again. The only villain I will talk about, since Agatha, just for what she was, felt like a blank antagonist, just fitted for Wanda to act like a lesson about magic and about her own mind, and I hope she gets revisited to make her more like in the comics, but until then we take her for what she is. Hayward, however, despite being a douchebag all the time and having no reasoning, is a pretty interesting character. Yes, he wants power. Yes, he resurrects Vision while not even being fully aware of how that will pan out. But his way of thinking perfectly reflects how people of the MCU changed after the snap of Thanos. Yes, he seeks power, but everyone would feel powerless after half the people on Earth died under his protection. Yes, he wants to simply kill Wanda, but he has to be afraid, for now he saw firsthand what the consequences of letting beings too powerful lose are, again and again, in the Winter Soldier, in the Age of Ultron, in the Civil War, and with a climax in Infinity War. This guy needs to be at least mentioned, because it is the only part in the entire TV show I absolutely dread. It's the only part I am unsatisfied about, and I still hope that this guy is more than a pathetic joke. I am a fan of X-Men. I want X-Men in the MCU. I don't care how it needs to come. And when I finally believe that they will bring X-Men into the MCU, they hit me with an electricity bill. I am waiting for more, and as soon as possible. Doctor Strange, do not disappoint me. And to the last point, this also needs to be discussed. As I and everyone else were watching the mysteries of Westview unfold, people on the social media came with an arsenal of theories regarding every frame of every episode. And here comes the power of the quarantine combined with too high expectations. People having too much time sitting at home, and this is not to judge, it's just what it is, have watched every single one of the episodes multiple times, have sicked for every single detail, and then transformed it into an argument for a theory, growing more and more absurd. They were hoping for the multiverse to be revealed, another Thanos in the form of Mephisto, some kind of godly evil being I don't have any clue about, and many, many more ideas. They took the fucking fly from the 7th episode and theorized about it as it's being the mastermind behind it all. And I am saying this not because it is wrong to theorize, to chase a sensational, or to chase another moment like the final climax in Endgame, but because in doing so, a lot of people lost the essential. There were a lot of people who, by theorizing so much, lost what this TV show was about. It was not about revealing a new big villain, it was simply about grief. About how someone coped with death. About how a character that lost all she had, again and again, can stand back up tall again and move on. About how Wanda deserves to be the strongest hero, because she was the most affected by every event in this world. She did not die a hero. People hate her instead of creating monuments because she made some mistakes. Her life was always downhill, and she could never do anything but see her loved ones dying, sometimes even worse. And then she finally falls. And all the rambling sadness and pain, sorrow and grief, is the message. Not a teaser for another big villain, not a call out to the presence of the multiverse. It makes a minimal setup to tie into the bigger picture, but more than anything is a story about an amazingly written character, whom we see moving on and on. And this is why, at the end of the day, WandaVision was an amazing show, and an even better story. Think about it. This was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Bata, out.